We're live. Hey guys, we are live for the Friday Night Fish Talk pregame show.
That it is.
Captain
Welcome
Billy and
back
myself.
again.
Billy, before we start talking about this first subject, I say we do a little cheers.
It's been a heck of a week.
Great
Keep it
week.
rolling good.
Keep it rolling. All right. So we are going to let some people start logging on here and tuning in, and then we are going to talk about something very important.
Yeah, very much so. Things that were, need to be addressed around the town.
It needs to be fixed.
Yes.
It's been addressed, but it needs to be fixed. So we're gonna keep letting roll, and then see who logs on here, because we do need to talk about this next subject. We need to be serious about it, and we need your all's help to help spread the word and make some phone calls. So
Get some things fixed. Yeah, absolutely.
yep. So Bree, you sharing away over there, because I want everyone possible that actually uses our waterways to hear this next part. Or cares about our waterways.
Hi, Mom.
Big old thumbs up. Alright, thumb down. There we go. Alright, so before we get into this first subject, you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about fishing this week, or what
Happy
color
to talk
underwear
about
Billy's
what
wearing?
again.
I think the census last week. Hey, Brian,
It's not yellow and brown.
you don't wear underwear.
There's that. Yeah.
Well, the front is yellow, the back is brown. Is that what someone said?
Yeah. Oh, Captain Mario. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
So yes, make it happen. This is a disgrace. I completely agree, Mr. Martin Newsy. So we're getting ready to put some people on blast, but not just to put them on blast, to make awareness.
That's
So,
it. To bring up the subject, to allow everybody to know what's going on and
Yep.
see what we can get done to have it fixed, have it repaired.
You know, every Friday we're here talking about fishing,
Yep.
about boating, about airboating, about scalloping. You know, without what we're getting ready to talk about, there would be none of that stuff.
Absolutely, and that's just it. And what we're wanting to discuss is running right into where everybody's fishing.
Yep. So we're going to use our platform here on Friday Night Fish Talk to talk about what's really important. And I tell you what, as soon as Brianna gives me the thumbs up, I cannot wait to get jumped into this subject. So, Bri, are we ready to start talking? A good amount of viewers going? Still sharing? All right, I tell you what, Sean, let's go ahead and put up some of those photos. I think that's a good way to start this off. Photo. This is where Billy and I grew up, born and raised.
That is the actual head of Halls River right there.
It's the start of it. There's
Yep.
multiple springs that go back into that canal, and that canal leads right out into one of the first bays, the second bay. But as kids, we would gladly jump off of the docks and swim all through there. Remember, we used to snorkel and catch big old blue crabs.
Monstrous
right
blue
exactly
crab, be able
where
to
we're
catch
looking.
bass, bluegill. I mean, this is where we grew up. This is where this whole lifestyle of ours started, was literally the very backwaters of Halls River. And to see it like this is
Disgusting.
pretty disgusting.
I would not let Brody swim in that canal.
Not
And
whatsoever.
to say that,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I know. He swims in the canal here and we feel comfortable with it. But that, I don't know what's that.
so. For those of you that don't know, the Halls River 7 of the. All right, so the first photo, by the way, was after a major rain.
Yeah.
This one is just a normal day now.
Yeah. Days of no rain and actually all that sediment settling and just turning into a green muck. And that's the terrible part of it. I mean, the whole thing's pretty bad, because we grew up back there and it was crystal clear spring-fed waters. And that's what we knew, that's what we know it still should be. And it's not.
Disgusting. All right, so for those of you that don't know, one of the 7 Florida outstanding waterways in Citrus County.
Yep.
Estimated 280 million gallons of water daily.
Fresh water.
Fresh water pumped straight from the aquifer into our river systems. Now, the Halls River helps feed the Homosassa River,
Yes, it does.
but it also directly feeds the St. Martin's Aquatic Preserve.
Yeah, coming right through Price Creek. Some people know it as, Danger Creek, Mosquito Ditches, whatever you want to call it. That is the same river that is coming from Halls River.
Through the marshlands.
It is feeding all through there.
Connects to the Salt River, and Game Creek.
And that's the worst part of it. Coming from those headwaters, where we were born and raised, where we're seeing those photos, is that's only going to continue to work its way out the river. It's not going to be something that's going to just stay right there. Those springs are going to continue to shove that nastiness further out.
So, all right, so we've addressed the issue at hand,
Yep.
the dirty water. Now let's address where it's coming from. All right.
Good with that.
For the past several years, we've had the biggest mess of a road construction, and we're not putting blame on anyone.
Nope.
So, the
Nope.
state has a play at it, the contractor, the different environmental that we're supposed to be protecting our environmental groups, they had a play at it. There's a huge chain that's involved when, creating a simple roadway or a
Yeah.
stormwater management area. It has to be signed off by engineers from the state and, contracted engineers, and it's a big ordeal.
yeah.
This one, the ball was dropped.
Many times it looks to be.
Where it was dropped, I don't care, personally. Right now, I don't care.
Yeah.
What I care about is this damn problem getting fixed.
Yeah.
So, stormwater management typically is these big ditches. You'll see them all up and down 19 now.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And it's
Cleared acres of woods for those.
acres. It's created for water runoff of 19 to
Yep.
go into these ditches. Some use filtration systems to filter that water, because think about all those contaminants and oils and
Oh,
gasoline.
yeah. Coming right off the blacktops,
right
off
off
the millings. I mean, a
the
lot of
asphalt
diesel
is-
fuel.
Yeah, the
those-
asphalt alone. I mean, so some of those stormwater management areas use a filtration system. After it's filtered, then it runs off to the woods, or it settles into back into the aquifer.
Yep.
Some they're supposed to just seep out away from wetlands. This one is just north of Homosassa Marine and
Yep.
south
Of Toyota.
of Toyota on the west side of 19. And if you pull up any Google map imagery, if you go there and look at it, it's a disgusting green color.
It is.
So what's happened, and I personally went and checked this, and I had to personally go walk somebody from Swift Mud through the process of how it works,
Yep.
Which was-
just following the stream.
which was the first red flag why he couldn't walk me to how it's going on. So
Yeah. Why is this being found by residents versus?
it's
folks
going
working
it's
it.
going down this vortex. Sean, do we have that video or photo of the vortex? All right, so let's put this up.
All man-made.
So this is a big giant retention pond, stormwater management, and this vortex hole was created. Now that big green disgusting blob with the water bottle, that's sitting right on top of the hole. So that is actually what's going down the hole.
Just pure sludge.
Pure sludge. Once it settles, once it goes down, and it goes down like a funnel. I mean, if you were to throw, someone that's not a strong swimmer over that, they probably get sucked down.
It is.
But that goes down, and then it shoots east under the road, under US 19. When it goes under 19, it goes to the east side of 19, and I don't know if anyone's noticed, but now there's these water drainage ditches
Yep.
that
Running
run
the
along-
side.
running the side. Yeah,
Yep.
we've never had those.
Nope.
It looks like when you go down to the Everglades along Alligator Alley, that's what it's looking like. So do we have that photo, Sean? Let's throw that one up just so everyone can follow along here. All right. Well, this is actually a leaking pipe under the road. They wonder why we keep getting all these sinkholes.
Yeah.
I'm the one that found that and had to point that out.
Dry land for miles and then a massive puddle.
Yeah. So, Sean, we don't have the other photo. All right. So we'll post that other photo later. So anyway, it works straight down 19, and that ditch runs north on the east side of 19.
Yep.
Once it runs north, it comes up to this this concrete drainage pipe, or what? There's
It's like a culvert.
a culvert, yes.
Yep.
And it's pretty obvious, and the Swift Mud guy pointed this out as well. Yeah, let's throw that photo up there. It's pretty obvious that it's supposed to bypass that wall
and continue on to
the next drainage retention. But like the guy from Swift Mud pointed out, the elevation's higher, and then it seems like this wall was there and possibly put it after the fact. We don't know yet. Again,
the whole silk screen situation that's there.
There's literally a dam that was built, some silt screens, and you can see that water just flushing down. This is again 2 weeks without any serious rain.
Mm-hmm.
That water is hauling ass down 19 or up north 19.
Yeah, heading north.
Heading north. It's flowing, and then all of a sudden it comes up and it does like another vortex at that wall.
Yeah.
And then it goes back under the road. And then from under the road, it goes west, and it's just pouring out into the woods. Now, there's a spot right there that, some have tried telling me that it's a creek. That was never a creek.
No, it was not there when we were children.
Yeah.
It was not there when we were teens, believe us. When we tell you, we snuck out of the house many times as kids to go and do our Walmart parking lot
My mom's
runs.
watching right now.
Hi, Mom. And these are the times they come out in life.
I mean, we used to sneak through the woods. We used to go back there and play. We used to go see how many moccasins we could find. I mean,
all the above.
We used to do all that, and that creek was not there.
No.
Now it's 12 to 16 foot wide in some spots.
Yeah.
16 foot was the widest I've found so far. 12 to 16 foot wide, and it looks like it was actually cut. It was either cut or the massive flow of water that's running through there
ran it through.
Now, from there, it runs all the way through the woods, created this big creek, and then it's pouring out into those canals daily.
Yeah, pouring right into the Halls River.
Now, I want to tell you guys the conversation I had with a subcontractor that was supposed to be overlooking this operation, and he was trying to tell me that it's rainwater.
Yeah.
And I challenged him. I was going to miss the first part of the show to go meet him. I wanted him to meet me there right now. There hasn't been a lot of rain.
Yeah.
To show him that it's a waterfall coming through the woods.
That's exactly what it is. It has not stopped flowing.
Yeah. Do we have that video, Sean? Okay, so
What is that?
Sean's attempting to download the video of it pouring out of the woods, and then so that's what's happening, guys. Now here's the crazy part. That back up a little bit. It shoots across from the first drainage, shoots east, runs north, and then at that retainer wall, that little levee or whatever you want to call it, culvert, there's a piece of plywood that's bolted to that concrete wall. The hardware is brand new on it, so it was just put up. All right, that caught my attention. So Brianna and my mother was on the other side of 19, on the west side of 19, staring at that creek area. And I see the board, so I take a PVC pipe that was laying on the ground, and I start smacking the board. And I'm looking across 19, and they're looking off into the woods. So that's actually a tunnel.
It is a tunnel.
It's a tunnel that goes under 19, and it was echoing off into the woods. So,
yeah.
But, guys, that's what's going on right now. Now, a few updates. We've met with Swift Mud. So the gentleman we met with, John, he seems to want to help. He seems to want to get this thing pushed
Taking care.
There's no urgency whatsoever.
Yeah.
All right. His comments were pretty much, when the new contractor takes over, we'll address it. That's not good enough.
Yeah. When?
Talked to Commissioner Jeff Kennard. He's been very helpful. He blasted emails to every single person plus their neighbor's grandmother to say we need to get this fixed and addressed now. And we want to start hearing answers. So applauds to Commissioner Jeff Kennard. And, with commissioners, each one is zoned for a district, right, throughout Citrus County. Now they're all responsible for the whole county.
Yes, but their small organization of responsibility is in their little district.
Correct, yes. So
they oversee what happens there.
So that being said, this is not his district as far as overlooking, His is Ozello north and then a little east. But he stepped up. He saw our concerns on Facebook. He stepped up. The other guy that's here in this district, as far as I know, hasn't said a word. Jeff Kennard has stepped up. He's made the phone call. So again, thank you, Commissioner Jeff Kennard.
Absolutely.
Now you got the video. So which video is this one, Sean? Okay. This is where they're flowing through the woods. All right, so let's play that video. If you can, do no sound on it. So I want to talk over it, just so I can kind of narrate it. Okay. All right, so if you look real carefully, this is after a rain. All right. Now look real carefully. This is supposed to be all wetlands, all woods. Can you see the flow of water rushing
right underneath
through?
that palm frond.
Right under the palm frond. That's like a creek in the mountains.
Yep.
That's not a normal Florida, spring-fed creek. That's a straight flow through. Now, do you see all the foam
Coming right down with it.
coming right down with it? What the foam is, I don't know. It's obviously coming from the drainage retention,
Yep.
but it's not normal. So this ultimately, I think it's supposed to shoot over to the right. Yep. So that's the natural creek that we've always had,
Yep.
and then it comes through this
Creek
little
running into that natural one.
Exactly. So, yeah. So it's a new creek created by runoff going into an existing creek that's been there as long as we know. So.
Yep. Pouring right into the neighborhood.
All right. So the third phone call was, like I said, the subcontractor. This guy was somewhat argumentative.
Mm-hmm.
He really was. He was defensive. He tried telling me that culvert's always been there. It has not always been there. I will attest to that in any court. And again, I have no sense of urgency from him saying that it's going to get fixed right now.
Yeah.
It needs to get fixed. Far as I know. Yep, Commissioner Jeff Kennard, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We trust that you are not only trying but getting things done, so we do appreciate it. You've escalated our concerns, very far with those emails you sent off. So again, thank you, sir. And that is why we voted for you. But we need y'all's help now. So we are going to list out phone numbers, emails.
Every bit of contact we have to be able to push to get this thing repaired.
And when you all make the phone call, it's real simple. You want an update for the rainwater runoff from the storm retention ponds.
Yep.
You want an update on when it's going to be fixed. So call daily, call nightly. Let's get this thing fixed so we do not become a polluted area. This is Citrus County. Let's keep it Citrus County.
We know a lot of you folks out there know the Halls River for a nice, cool spot to be relaxing. The crystal clear waters, the sandy bottoms that we have there. I mean, it's not uncommon for those little rivers to get clogged up with people. We know you guys are back there. Make sure it remains that way, because here shortly, if it does not, the whole river itself is going to continue to get cloudy, and who knows what's in it. Yeah. Nobody's going to want to swim in that mess.
I mean, we have videos of dead mullet floating everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember 3 years ago. Now I'm not insinuating that this has anything to do with this. But I can tell you this: when it happened, there was no cause of death.
Yeah.
There was the dead manatee that was pulled out of that exact same spot because they used that piece of land to crane that poor manatee out.
They dang sure did.
So I don't know, guys. Please help us. Please help our ecosystem. Please help our rivers and help our fishing, and make the phone call to the phone numbers we post later as much as you can, and let's spread our message to stay Citrus County. And
that's it. Preserve what we got.
And we don't need 6 lanes. Yeah. So, all right, let's go to a quick commercial. Or wait a minute, hold on.
Someone asked, do you have to live in Citrus County to make it count?
No.
No,
All right.
not
So
at all.
Brianna just read off one of the comments. Somebody asked, do you have to live in Citrus County to make your voice count? Not at all.
It'll only help.
It'll help, and it'll double and triple help. You guys come here and visit, and not only that, it's a waterway. At what point are we going to stop tampering with waterways. Well,
Yeah.
at what point are we going to stop the building? At what point are we going to stop the...
We'd like to preserve what we have here and not become the Tampa Bay situation that they're looking into now.
I agree.
You know, they have a big enough mess down there. I don't want to see our little county become that next.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's go to intro. Alrighty, guys. Welcome to
Friday Night Fish Talk.
All right, so we've gotten our message across through that whole portion we just did, but please, again, help us, help the ecosystem, help
That's
the
it.
rivers, help the fish, help the
Preserve
nature.
what we have.
That's it. All right, but let's start getting into talking about fishing, right?
It's been a beautiful week for it.
Awesome week. And tonight, Captain Louie from Floater Fishing Adventures is out of town.
Yep.
But filling in for him is the one and only, the world famous Captain Carlos
Gutierrez.
Gutierrez. You say it.
Gutierrez.
You say it.
Gutierrez.
G. We'll say it G.
We'll just say G.
All right. Captain Carlos, thank you for filling in tonight.
Pleasure.
You do appreciate it. So tonight we are talking about commonly made inshore fishing mistakes.
Yes.
And I think this is something we can all relate to. I think this is something that,
We've all been
That-
there, done that, and we know how those mistakes go.
yep, mistakes happen. It's all about correcting them.
Yep,
So
that's exactly it.
now what we're going to do is we're going to cross-reference. As we're talking about these mistakes, I think we're going to bounce back and forth, with Captain Carlos, so he can actually talk about like the tackle portion on the Bush Home Services Tackle Table Talk. So we've got the one and only Captain Zac Zachry here this evening, and he is going to help go through this list of items with us.
Absolutely.
So
If anybody knows mistakes, it's Zach.
Yep, absolutely. So I tell you what, though, let's do this. You and I are going to go through a couple of these, and then I really want to bring Zach in for the rest of them.
Yeah, fully understand that.
So let's just go through a couple, and then, like I said, we'll bring Zach in and finish off. So, all right. So location.
That's about 3/4 of your mistake of the fishing day.
A lot of people will get used to fishing and launching at the same boat ramp.
Yes, and just like we always hear, those fish have tails and no homes. They're not always going to be in that same spot.
Yep.
It's a matter of picking what looks to be right for the moment, the tides, and the setting of the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much to do with it. The warmer it is, the further out you move, and
Go
the
find those
colder
cooler
it is,
waters.
The further in, you look for the muddy waters when it's nice and cold. So it's about picking your location. Try not to get used to fishing one location. Try not to get used to fishing out of one boat ramp, one marina. Get
Explore.
well diversed.
Absolutely.
So explore, and then that's where you're going to figure out where and when and what times to fish these different areas.
Yep, for sure. I mean, it's going to be about the best way to do it, is to actually get out there, do it, spend some time on each little spot, not all day on one spot.
Absolutely. So, all right, this next one is, and again, guys, we want you all to ask as many questions possible. So if you have a question about one of these subjects, don't be
away.
embarrassed. Yeah, hammer away. If you think that we're not saying it right, let us know. So, all right, this is one of my favorites, and I can't preach this enough. When you're saltwater fishing inshore,
Right?
all right, and you're fishing currents, you hear the phrase and the term tight line a
Tight
lot.
line or loose line?
So a lot of people feel like they need to keep their line taut at all times. That is not true.
Not the case, not whatsoever.
And in most cases, it'll hurt your fishing.
Mm-hmm.
What'll happen, and I've talked about this before, if you're fishing a mangrove line, and let's say that this is the mangrove, right? That current's rushing down the mangrove.
Coming right down the bank.
You're sitting here. You cast here to start your drift with that cork or that bait. If you start here, if you get a tight line, I hate to tell you this, but all that's doing is
away.
It's swaying that bait out here where you don't want to be.
That's it.
The ultimate goal is to end up down here where it's more calm
you
water
run that
or under
whole
the mangroves.
shoreline.
Exactly. So you need to adjust your slack and feed line to allow that bait to drift naturally.
Yep.
Now,
it can be a little tough at sometimes having a loose line.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of playing it. You don't want too loose but too tight, because a lot of times you can miss that bite at the same time.
You can miss the bite. You can get tangled up.
Oh, yeah.
So you gotta be able to allow just enough line for that bait to drift freely, but not too freely.
And a good way to practice that is with a cork.
Yeah, it's a great
Because
way.
you can actually watch that cork. If it starts to pull away from the island, let some line out. You'll watch it run a little further distance, and the tighter it gets, the further it'll pull away. And it's not a terrible practice for the practice of it to be able to just toss a cork out there, see how it drifts, see how much what kind of line you're going to have to let out to allow that cork to go all the way down the bank.
Yep, I agree. So, and also we forgot to tell you guys, we are doing some cooking tonight
Ooh.
with Captain Zach out on the Big Green Egg provided by Bush Home Services.
Love that.
We're cooking one of my favorite dishes. It's seafood shooters on the half shell.
Gotta love
So
it. Fresh
that's
scallop. Ooh.
Fresh scallop, other sea. It's going to be awesome. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the show and collect that recipe, because it's a great item to present to guests and if you're trying to impress someone. But that being said, before we get to the rest of these items, I do want to take a quick commercial break and then swap you and Zach out, because this is really Zach's area here.
Absolutely. The fails. No.
All right. Be right back.
Vagabond dreaming takes me through the night, sipping whiskey by the river, living out of sight. 100 miles an hour in the fast lane, 100 miles an hour toward the light. Sun does come 100 miles an hour in the fast lane, 100 miles an hour in the fast lane, 100 miles an hour till I'm done.
Alrighty, guys, we are back with Captain Zac Zachry from Tried and True Outdoor Adventures. All right, Zach, so we're talking about commonly made mistakes while you are fishing inshore.
There's a lot of them you can make.
A lot of them, but there's a lot of them you can fix too.
Lots, and it'll improve your fishing drastically.
Good. So, guys, I do this all the time, and I really suggest you do as well. Listen to Zach. He has helped me so much with my fishing, charters, spear fishing, everything.
Life in general.
Life in general, yeah. I love life. All right, so Zach, the next one is, it's pretty much knowing when to fish against the mangroves, but you see a lot of times that are people on a dead low tide or an outgoing tide. People are doing their push pull and they're on the trolling motor. They're trying to get right up tight against those mangroves. Is that the best thing to do?
For all spots, it's not going to be necessary. When that water drops out, guys, those redfish specifically in this area have a comfort zone, okay, of where their depth of water they're going to want to sit in. If it gets too shallow, they're prone to getting hit by ospreys or getting stuck in areas. So when that tide's going out, if the tide's high and going out, you guys can still fish up near those mangroves. We preach about mullet every week. You see the mullet jumping right up there on the mangroves? Fish the mangroves, all right? Keep looking around. Eventually, when that tide starts to drop out, you're going to see those mullet push off the bank, all right? You could see mullet literally 100 yards off the bank on really low tides, and guess where those redfish are still going to be? They're still going to be with those mullet. So if you're push pulling through extremely skinny water to get up to an area to fish, you might have a great spot, and they might hold redfish at low tide. I'm not saying that's not possible, but in general, if those mullet are way off the bank and you're push pulling past those mullet to fish the bank, it's doing you absolutely no good, guys. Those redfish are going to be following those mullet. Where you see those mullet way off the bank, that's where your redfish are going to be. That's all there is to it. And then touching on, casting out and keeping that tight line, you guys are exactly right. When that tide's rushing, if you guys cast up those mangroves and then pull that line tight, you can literally watch your bait just pull right away from the bank. So you definitely want to keep some slack in your line for sure.
And, a good idea to touch back on that as well. Carlos, you've got a popping cork all rigged up there.
Yeah.
Why don't you show everyone what could happen as well if you're fishing a big old tight current, strong current, what could happen to that bait, if that line is tight?
So a lot of times what will happen is you'll have, if this was a slip bobber or popping cork and you have a tight line, your bait, instead of hanging down here, down below, underneath your popping cork or your bobber, it will just end up at the surface, and it just won't be ideal of a presentation for any redfish or snook that you might be going after for the day. So once again, you've got a better camera angle. So hook down here, and if you had, we'll rig it with a little bait. You got a little free line shrimp going on, and he's loose, he's dangling. If you're all of a sudden tight, he'll go to the surface, and he's down out of that strike zone where those fish are going to be. So we want to minimize that tight line, let it drift with the current, and they'll just have a better presentation for your bait.
Boom. There it is. So, that's perfect explanation on what could happen.
Spot on.
Spot on. All right, so next one, and this is one of your favorites, the run and gun. You see constantly people sitting on a spot because they're going to say, I know the fish are here. They were here yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to wait for them to show up. So do you ever stay at a spot?
Only certain spots. Only certain spots. Because sometimes the redfish will come back to the same area at the same tidal time every single day. But that is not the case for all spots. So that's what I do is I go up to a spot, I'll fish it 5-10 minutes tops, don't get anything, move on to the next one, move on to the next one. You just keep running and gunning all day long, cover as much ground as you can. But like I said, I do have spots that I will, sit there and camp out for them if I know
schools.
There's a school of fish. Yeah, but if and I'm talking, schools of fish 25 to 100 strong. I'm not talking, waiting on 5 fish. That's
because they will those big schools will make rotations, and they're almost on time too.
Yep.
Now I do have a question for you on that. Will they follow? The tides change an average of 45 minutes a day. Do they follow the tides when they're on that movement, or is it the time of the day?
It's the tides. That's why I said the time of the tide. The actual, like you said, it pushes back 45 minutes every day. If you're fishing at 1 o'clock and you tore them up, I would start fishing there at, 1:30, 1:45 the next day, and you might have to wait until 2 to pick them up. But that's a great point.
All right, perfect. So, guys, unless you are fishing the school, unless you know that there is a school, and don't forget, schools end up leaving. If they stay 100%. There year-round, then fishing would be real easy. But
yes.
when you are, we'll call it guest fishing. If you are fishing a spot and that spot provided great for you and your friends the weekend before, if you don't get a bite of that spot, 10 minutes?
10 minutes tops.
I remember someone told me it's the captain's cigarette break. If the captain has enough time to finish the cig,
yep,
you're off.
Yep, or 2 songs. Yep. Listen to the radio, 2 songs, leave.
Perfect. All right, so...
and I got a couple that you don't have on that list, too.
But yeah, let's bounce back and forth. Let's do yours.
So, I'm going to go over 2 kind of in the same way here. Guys, when you're approaching these fish, a big mistake I see people making is getting too close to the fish, all right? You need to be able to cast your rod as far as you can and know that distance. Say, okay, I can cast, 30 yards, 20 yards, whatever the case may be. And that right there is as close as you want to get to that school is the very end of your cast.
Yep.
Okay? I see a lot of guys pushing. I mean, there are some spots that, if you're flipping, pinfish up under the mangroves and stuff like that, you do have to get close. But no matter what, guys, try and keep as far away from those fish as possible. And that is going to make those fish feel more comfortable in the water, and they're not even going to know you're there. Number 2, when you go to anchor, guys, I know a lot of people use power poles, okay? They're an amazing piece of equipment. But the main thing is watch where you're putting your power pole down, because you can put your power pole down on rock, and if your boat's still moving, it's going to make all kinds of ruckus. And you can actually, if you watch those fish and put your power pole down and it's banging all over the place, you watch those fish and you're going to see them starting to move around, which they're like, they're getting uneasy. So what I typically do is, I'm up on the trolling motor, I'll look to the back of the boat, and I try and position my boat to where I can drop it down into some sand, some mud, some grass, something like that, and really try not to get it down on that hard bottom. It's gonna help you guys out a whole lot.
You know what I do on the trolling motor is if like when you fish down south, there's no option. There's really, sometimes some spots, but primarily it's all hard bottom. What I'll do is I'll spin the trolling motor 180 and try to stop that thing dead its track, and then put as much pressure on that power pole as possible where it bends it down.
Exactly.
And that'll hold it in place just from off the pressure. So.
And talking about trolling motors, for you guys that are fishing artificials and moving down the bank, throwing your artificials, okay? If you are constantly changing the speed of your trolling motor, that alone will spook your fish that are close to you. So you could literally get on the trolling motor, and if it's like an overcast day, you're looking at that fish and you really can't see you, and you're trolling motoring along, and you keep the same speed, let's say 2, and you're going past, he's going to sit there until he sees you. If you're on 2 and then you switch it to 3, that redfish is going to dart off. And so that's another thing that as a kid, my brother and I, we would be going down the bank fast, slow, and we had an old guy come out with us, and he's like, literally, they can hear that blade changing pitch in the water, the sound, and they'll move, and I call BS on it. And sure enough, he's like, drive down the bank and keep it on one number. Sure enough, passed right by a red, and then we saw another one, sped it up a little bit, and he could hear that vibration or whatever is in the water, and then he just took off. So that's definitely a big one.
Stay consistent on the trolling.
Yep.
All right. So let's go over to one of mine. This is one of my favorites. I think any guide can contest to this. Is don't set the hook when you are using a circle hook.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the reason why we use circle hooks is because going back to the slack or the slack line, tight line. When you have to use a slack line to fish current areas. That circle hook's very important because they automatically set the hook and they get the right position. But if you're using a circle hook, do not set the hook. Grouper fishing, redfish, especially trout, snook, you don't set the hook. It's real easy.
Do we have a circle hook up there?
No, we do not.
No circle hook? Hey, Billy, can you go grab a circle hook from downstairs? When you set the hook, I think you're going to demonstrate this.
Yeah, I'm going to show exactly what happens.
So let's show them instead of talk about it. I like it. So again, you are going to get people that has bass fish. Oh, there's some circle hooks right there. Perfect.
Great.
So actually, we can put it right in front of here.
Watch me hook myself doing this.
Are we going on D's camera or?
All right, so here is your circle hook right here, guys, okay? So you can see it's almost shaped in a complete circle versus a regular J hook's going to come around, and instead of this barb right here curling, it's going to go straight up. So that's going to be your J hook. With the circle hook, when the redfish eats it, he's going to grab it, and it's going to go down into his belly, okay, or deep in his throat, whatever. If you set the hook, look at this. I didn't hook myself. If I did that with a J hook, I'd put a hook right through my finger. Now, all you want to do is reel when, quote-unquote, setting the hook here. You're not going to set it, you just want to reel. When you reel, that redfish is going to go to leave, and the hook's going to come out of his mouth, and it's going to wrap, and then it's going to go into the redfish's lip like that, okay? So again, all you're wanting to do is start reeling, and when it goes to leave, it's going to come out of the mouth, and then it's going to hook into it just like that. Versus your J hook, like I said, I could not do this with a J hook. I'd have, holes in my fingers right now. So that's the reason why you guys don't want to set the hook on a circle hook.
Boom. So you pull it right out of his throat. So
Exactly. Yep.
there it is.
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, that was spot on. All right. So again, don't set the hook. Reel as fast as you can, though.
Oh yeah, 100%.
When if you're using a cork or if you see your line, let's say you're fishing cut bait, you see that line start moving, reel as fast as you can, just nice and smooth though.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing.
Nice and steady. I tell my customers all the time, reel in a circle, not a square.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That doesn't work. Circle motion, just like this.
All right.
Anyways.
So this next one, it's a good one. We preach about this as well. Fish more, tie less. You know,
Yes.
artificials.
Get something you're confident with.
Yeah.
Because confidence is everything on artificials, okay? Get something you're confident with that you know has worked in the past. Stick to it. Keep using it.
Yep.
That's the main thing.
Colors
right there.
do change, throughout the season.
100%.
But you got to learn, what colors are best. Listen, we talk about colors all the time. We are not lying to you. We're not BSing you. But the last thing you want to do is spend more time in your tackle box putting on this color. Oh, this thing. Look how shiny and bright this one is. Look at the detail on the gills. No, I use 3 colors.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
I've got 2. Watermelon red and
White.
glow, or white,
Glow,
yeah. Yep.
So, but that being said, guys, before we get back to these commonly made mistakes, we're going to go to a quick commercial break from our friends over at Bush Home Services, and we will be back. All right.
Good.
You're on.
Hey, family, friends, and followers of Friday Night Fish Talk in Ozello Keys Marina. This is Captain Carlos filling in just today for Captain Louie on the Tackle Table Talk presented by Bush Home Services. I'll just go ahead and echo some of the things on the tackle mistakes that maybe we might be doing or just new to some of us. So I've got a list of things. One of them was rod and reel maintenance. So one thing that I always do, I see a lot of the guys, once we get back to the marina, we'll clean up our boats. And one thing we always do also is we spray down our rods and reels, get that salt off of them. If you guys ever need somebody to maintenance your reels, I recommend Blue Water Tackle and Bait Shop, or Blue Water Bait and Tackle. They're right on US 19 on the corner of like Grover, Cleveland, here in Homosassa. One thing that I did like, I did take some reels to him. He uses this product, which I use as well. This is why I have it. Look for, Darnell to zoom in. This is inox, okay? I spray this on my outboard. I use this on my mud motor. And this is more the heavy version, but there is another version, just inox, that you can use. And this is what he used on my reel. Lubricate your actual handle. Pull off your drag on your reel. Get that off. Spray lightly clean and spray the inside of your reel. This will get built up with gunk, grime, salt water. So clean those up as well. Also, the drag will pop off, which I can't get to do right now. But either way, take care of your reels, and your reels will take care of you. Okay. The worst thing to do is to dunk them in water. Once you dunk them in water, that bearing inside is, if you don't get that taken care of quick, just your reel it'll start getting clunky. It won't be smooth anymore. So you just really want to have optimal gear for your fishing while in the water. Next thing, proper leader, hook sizing, using weights. So leader wise, I carry in my tackle bag 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 80 pound fluoro. I mostly use fluoro because out here we have more crystal clear water, not so much dirty water, although we do have dirty water out here more in the creeks in Ozello. But make sure you have variance in leader line, okay? Sometimes the fish won't bite. Obviously, you guys know, you've heard this. They won't bite as easily, or they might get spooky on heavier leader. Drop it down. Hook sizes, okay? I'll give an example. If Darnell will come in a little bit. So we have 2 swim baits here. I got 2 paddle tails, and we just found this jig head here, okay? So if we are using a jig head, and this is just generally, they're all about the same, but there are sizes that are bigger. If we were to use this jig head on this swim bait here, that might look natural. But maybe on some swim baits, this just happens to be a Z-Man Elastec swim bait, so it has a lot of action. But if you were to get maybe a soft plastic that was a little bit stiffer, or maybe even smaller, this may be too big of a hook, or maybe not big enough as compared to this other paddle tail that I've got. Here we go. So maybe if we're obviously a bigger paddle tail compared in size, we might need a bigger hook, okay? Maybe this one does not, which it actually doesn't have the same action, but because it's so far forward, it'll still do. But make sure you try to also just line up your hooks to your baits. All right. Paddle tail retrieves, and that's one of the reasons why I have these. The way that I work my paddle tails, a steady reel is all I do. So I just get it out there and just a steady reel. I don't normally do any jerks or anything, just a steady reel for paddle tails. That paddle tail action is what's going to create those strikes. So that's how I normally work my paddle tails. Popping corks is next on our agenda. What is up, what is down? Okay, so this one, these guys already pretty much dummy proved it. So it has beads for obviously for that sound, that attraction, that mimicking of a predatory fish popping baits trying to eat. So the the popping cork, to create that action, you don't want these brass weights on the top, okay, because then it'll make your popping cork kind of like not just sit properly in the water. So obviously brass beads will go on the bottom. And one thing, out of just one morning I was with Zach at the dock, and we were looking at somebody else's rod and reel setup, and I was like, hey Zach, how do you like working your popping corks? And there's different style popping corks. This one is just an oval float. There's some that have a concave top. And a lot of people, if you do or don't know, or I don't know how you guys work your popping corks, if my hand is the reel, don't pop the reel up, okay? As you're reeling, don't pop it up. What you should do to create that mimicking of that actual strike, if my arm is my reel, either in a downward quick motion or maybe off to the side, while you're reeling, you'll create that smack, that pop for your pop and reel. And hopefully that'll bring you guys a bite or two and improve your fishing. Last thing that I've got, which we don't even carry here at the Marina, I don't know who has one, is the old school style leader, the metal leaders that have the old hooks, the little clips. Around here, I don't know if anybody who uses those, so if you are, you might want to set up to a different tactic. A lot of us are just going to go braid to leader. Okay, and probably get rid of that hard tackle that's going to be a little bit more visual to the fish, and maybe spook them or make them a little bit less likely to bite. But that's my info. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for having me today, and off to the guys.
All right, what's happening, all?
How's it going, guys?
Good old Captain Zach out here, about to make you guys a little special dish.
With the green egg.
That's it. Gonna make some special seafood shooters here, using a little bit of fresh scallops that we had got today. We didn't get a whole lot out there, didn't spend a whole lot of time trying to. So what we're gonna do is make a nice prepped out dish for y'all to be able to impress everybody that you might have when you guys just have little bits of everything.
It's a nice appetizer.
That's it. So what we're gonna end up doing is we are gonna use the scallop on the half shell. We're gonna use a dab of olive oil, gonna use a dab of butter, and a dab of garlic first. And once we get a little bit of all this in each one of them, we're going to turn around and top it with a scallop. Get me a knife going, do a little bit of butter next. You want to follow that, Zach, with some garlic.
Yep. And the reason why you guys are going to put the garlic in before the meat is because the heat's coming from obviously the bottom of the grill, and it's going to hit the bottom of that scallop shell, and it's going to heat that garlic and cook that garlic first before your seafood.
That's exactly what you're wanting. Is you want all this ingredient to be cooked in solid well before your seafood dish is actually ready.
Yep.
Perfect.
And so now we'll put our scallops in there.
Want to just finger them out of there, Zach?
Yep. There we go. Got the scallops. You want to follow us up? Then we're going to put the redfish in next.
That's exactly what it is. Got some fresh diced up redfish, very, very small, very fine.
Yep, finely diced.
Gonna do a little bit of each in every one of them. Whoop. It's all right. Ratios aren't a big deal, as long as they're in there. Should just use my fingers like Zach.
Yep.
Made life a lot quicker.
And these guys
boy.
are actually shrimp right out of the bank tank. You just peel them, devein them, and it's good as any shrimp that you're going to buy in your store or anything like that. Actually, probably be better.
Gotta love some OKM shrimp.
That's it. Right out of the tank.
It's always funny when you get folks that are talking about you're bringing your bait shrimp home. It's like, well, you know, the nice part about eating the bait shrimp is they're already purged.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean,
They're
heck,
done.
me and Deanna, we eat it all the time. Deanna's like, hey, those are some pretty nice shrimp in there. You think I
Right?
just
You
throw
get
these
good
on
size
there?
ones. Why not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
And then so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and throw them on the grill. All right.
We get them nice and bubbling. Get all those juices in there flowing.
Yep. And this should take probably, I would say, 3 or 4 minutes, something like that. We've got our grill pretty hot. We've got the big green egg pretty hot.
Love using this big green egg. It actually
man.
holds in all that heat and cooks from a 360. You're not getting a straight heat from the bottom. The porcelain bowl that they have designed in there holds heat and will actually cook tops, bottoms, lefts, and rights, every little bit of it.
Well, what's pretty cool too is actually when you're next, I mean, don't touch it, but when you're right next to it, you really can't feel a whole lot of heat coming off of it.
Unlike the Weber.
When I'm cooking on my Weber, oh my gosh, man, you better not be wearing anything that can melt close to it.
That's it. It will light you up just as much as it does the food. So as these things cook, the nice part about it is cooking them on the half shell the way it is, being that it's made mostly of calcium, a lot of sodium mixed in on it. You know, you get all those flavors pushing in and cooking everything together. So what we're going to go ahead and do is close these up, come back in just a minute, and we'll show you a good final product of what we're going to do with them. Hey Gary, what you doing?
Oh, just going through the book, looking at some dash panels.
As nice as that sounds, what if we went and did something a little more custom? Do you know anybody that might be able to make a switch panel like this?
Let's go talk to Brian.
I think Brian would be a good idea for that.
Cool, let's go.
It'd be sweet.
Oh, Brian. Hey, man. What's up, brother? I got a cardboard cutout. Can you make it into something for me?
Absolutely, let's do it.
All right.
This is our dash panel complete. Just wanted to throw a huge shout out to Brian up there at Extreme Decalz. Nailed it. This is exactly what I had envisioned when I drew literally a cardboard cutout for this to become a true dash piece and showpiece at the same time. Thank you very much, Brian. I'm super stoked to see this thing on the water.
Alrighty, guys, we are back. We've got Marina here this time as my co-host. That food is smelling absolutely incredible, so I think they're about done. So we are going to get to the catch of the week real quick with Marina and I, and then we are going to talk about how the Reel of Fortune is going to work tonight, and we are going to be giving away an airboat ride for 2 guests, whoever is the winner of Reel of Fortune. So let's go ahead and jump into Extreme Decalz Catch of the Week, and let's see what was caught. Bag, we've got redfish, and a whole lot of scallops. Captain Carlos. Oh, there's another pretty Captain Carlos. Oh, we're going kind of fast there, Sean. Nice snook. There we go. All right. Nice bag. Captain Carter with an awesome bag. He's a hell of a fisherman, I'll tell you what. Miss Jessica. Beautiful snook. Jessica again. That redfish's got a big old tummy. Woo! Joseph. Nice largemouth bass. Captain Ken, the man, the myth, the legend, as always producing fish and smiles. Miss Marcia. I'm surprised Miss Marcia isn't holding the fish. I feel like she always catches. That's one of her friends there, and a nice redfish. The beautiful Marina. Marina, who's on the screen? Who's up there, girl? Who's up there? Stars and Stripes Charters, Captain Matt Kleckner, a nice snook. That is Ozello Fish Company there. Captain Jacob putting his client on a nice redfish. Awesome photo. Paul Janes, the one and only Paul Janes with a nice grouper. Captain Teddy. I think that's his personal best there. Big, beautiful snook. Captain Teddy's first time spearfishing and his first grouper, but Captain Carlos, Teddy wanted to make sure and give the credit to Captain Carlos for putting him on that fish. That is a really exciting feeling. So Carlos, I'm sure Teddy appreciates that moment more than you know. Oh, and that is a fish stick spear gun, by the way. Best spear gun on the market. Captain Teddy, 2 nice redfish. Yeah, we should play the video next week of Brody when he ran into that snake. Zach, what kind of snake was that again? Garter snake. Beautiful snake. Gorgeous snake. Captain Gene Miller with future Captain Zach Williams of 2 awesome redfish. They look like they had a great time. I need to get out there on that Ginu with Captain Gene. One.
It's on.
The famous Carlos and his cat. All right, guys. So what we are going to do for this week's giveaway, which is going to be an airboat ride for 2 guests, we're going to mix it up a little bit, just because we are running a little bit behind time. Instead of doing the Reel of Fortune, we are going to let our special guest tonight, Captain Carlos, choose his favorite photo of the week, and whoever submitted that photo is going to win the ride, the airboat ride for 2 guests. So we're going to go over to Captain Carlos, and Captain Carlos I think he's been over there doing his judging and point system. So
I'm a little bit biased. Some of those were my pictures, and I really thought Marina was super adorable. But we're going to mix it up, and we're going to go with the ditch pickle, and that was Joseph with the bass.
Nice.
There we
Awesome.
go.
Joseph, congratulations. So that was a you know, we don't get to see a lot of bass. So I completely agree.
And it was a nice bass too. So
Absolutely. There was one photo I noticed that we missed that I do want to play next week. I don't know if we have time to do it tonight, but Paul Janes got into some brook trout fishing and absolutely slayed them. And up there in the mountains, they tell you that you have to use 2-pound test line and everything else. And Paul Janes said, screw it, you know, I'm going to do it the way they do it in Chaz. And he went up there and slayed the brook trout. So, Bree, let's not forget to put those photos up next week. All right. All right, so I think if we are ready, we're going to go over to the Big Green Egg with Captain Zach, Captain Billy, and see what they got cooking.
All right. So we've got the scallops out of the Big Green Egg here. Like I said, it doesn't take long to cook. So just while Gary was talking about that, they've already cooked and they're done. And Billy's just putting the...
Got a little mango salsa set up that we actually got from the Tropical Tarpon.
Yep, the food truck down there. And then as soon as
Mighty
he's
tasty.
finished with that,
Getting them all seasoned up. All right.
we're going to take this... I cannot remember the name of it. Tahini. And then we're just going to kind of just do a quick little dust on all of them.
I'm going to come back with a little bit of lime juice on top of that. Not
Like that.
much.
Just like that. That is perfect. I can tell you, they smell delicious.
It is time to see what we had made.
So I've done this a lot. I've never put the mango salsa on there. So I'm interested to see what this is going to taste like.
Cheers, brother.
All right, man. Dude, that is so good.
That is amazing. You
That,
get the scallop, you get the redfish, you get the shrimp.
But that mango salsa from the food truck,
On point.
that's what makes it. Right there.
Yes, this was an amazing idea. Cheers
We ought
again.
to get see if Darnell will
I got to get out here and try some
do
right now.
scallop shooters, you know, out of the food truck.
All right.
Wow.
I'm not going to let you guys eat all this.
Oh my gosh.
I tell you what, look,
G, come out here and try this.
come here, G.
Yeah.
We'll do a cheers.
I don't mind if I do.
And we'll save the last few for everyone's mouths watering.
For some
there.
behind the scenes.
All right, guys, here's the cheers
right.
to another episode of Friday Night Fish Talk. Captain Carlos, thank you for joining us.
you
You've
very
been
much.
amazing. And also, guys, here is a cheers for you to help make us make a difference with our water clarity and our ecosystem.
100%.
Facts.
We're going to post those phone numbers here shortly. Please make those phone calls and let's get our water clean again.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
thank you.
Off the table.
Oh, man. Thank you for watching Friday Night Fish Talk. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Fish on.
Have a good one.
Try that.
I've
What
only
an
had like 10 scallops this whole